I mean, I was told by my film professor, there are films and there are movies. And sometimes you've got to know what you're walking into.
Yeah. See, but I come from a time when movies were films.
Okay, let me just go ahead and talk about the only fictional character to ever exist in the eyes of every single teenage boy in the world, that being Batman. Batman the Caped Crusader came out in August this month of August 1st. That's a weird way to say it, but it's just true. Batman Caped Crusader came out. This show has been in development for a pretty long time here, ever since 2020. It was announced to be originally streamed on HBO Max, and then it got bought out by Discovery. So Warner Brothers bought by Discovery. So then at that point, a lot of things started getting canceled. A lot of things started getting pushed and pulled away from different streaming services. And one of those things was Batman Caped Crusader. And earlier, a couple years ago, Batman Caped Crusader, I heard about the concept, I heard about what it was doing. J.J. Abrams, Matt Reeves, two GOATs and legends in their own respect. And I was really hyped for this show. I was really excited for it. This is one of my most anticipated things ever coming into this year. And I'm very happy to see it finally being released. Got picked up by Amazon Prime, very luckily. So the fact that the show is even coming out is a incredible thing. Happy to see it be done. But it seems to be under a little bit of controversy and in a very interesting state right now. Now, I would have assumed that Batman is all the rage, so everyone will be watching Batman Caped Crusader, yet for some reason, it seems like no one's watching the show and no one's talking about it. And yet, if they are watching Batman Caped Crusader, then they're for some reason hating on the show. Well, that's why I'm here, to give a very fair and unbiased review and give you both sides of the argument to why the show is bad and also why it is really good. I watched the full season a little bit too late here, recording this on August 24th. I finished the show, I think, on the 22nd or 23rd, and the show was a fine show. It wasn't bad, it wasn't abysmal, it wasn't terrible, but it was good. It did a lot of things good and a lot of things really bad, and I'll explain to you what worked, what didn't work, and what they could have done to make people a little more interested. Okay, so before I say what's bad about Batman Caped Crusader, I do have some good stuff to say about it. Yes, the show is getting some hate, some is well deserved, but I do still love the show. To an extent, there's things that work really well, things that also don't really work that well either, but I do think the show has done a lot good and also a lot bad, but what is good was also really good. I'm kind of rambling here, but just going into it here, the show is bringing Batman back to its true form, back to the 40s when he's really bare bones, grounded character, and that makes it really good for me. I mean, what I love about Batman from Matt Reeves is that movie is really grounded. It's really just Batman being Batman, detective stuff, really relying on the themes and also some very intriguing villains to be a good film. And Batman Caped Crusader is no different whatsoever. I mean, definitely seeing that the show is being produced by Matt Reeves, it definitely does at times feel like I'm watching the Batman Part 2 early. There's a lot of really cool stuff just with the formality of the Batman Caped Crusader, just specifically from Batman being a very dark emo loner who really hates everything about the world. Really cool detective stuff in here too. Some really, interesting oldies style action sequences, not really too intriguing with the fighting, but still very entertaining, very, very fun. And also what's cool about it is that this is Batman in like his first or second year, so he's making some mistakes, he's really stupid, he gets beat up a lot, he almost dies many times in the show, which is what makes it really cool. It feels like I'm learning along with this character, it feels like I'm growing with him, and seeing him growing from just really nothing to what we see and love about Batman is really cool. Some other things that I thought were really, really cool about the show is the suit in the show. It goes back to its OG, it's in the 40s, so it feels like it's like Adam West, but cooler. Adam West but fun, Adam West but a little bit sexy. That's what it feels like, and it feels very cool. It feels a little bit more modern, and it's fun. It's a fun little take on the costume. The ears are really tall and pointy. I like that a lot. I like the homemade cloth feel of the suit. It's really good. It's really, really cool. Another thing that's very, very cool, and also something that's really expected in Batman media, is the themes for the show. The themes are very, very good. Batman, being really dark, learning how to not live with vengeance and being a symbol of hope for the city. All that, fun Batman stuff, it's all here. And also with the villains also, I'll talk about a little bit more later, but the villains are very, very cool. Specifically, Two-Face is done in a very interesting way in this show. Really, the best episodes of the entire show are with Two-Face, and his character and his arc is very, very cool. I want to see more of him, and maybe a little bit of spoiler, but we may not see more of him since he actually died in the end of the show, but still, Two-Face, very good. That was really the main highlight of the show for me, and it was really incredible. But yeah, themes for the show are very good, even when Batman has every reason to kill every reason to quit, every reason to turn his back on Gotham. He chooses to be the one thing that can save the city from its own corrupt darkness. And my last big pro for Batman Caped Crusader is the fact that the show has a lot of potential right now. And yes, it's no secret, very, very evident, very, very clear that the show has gotten on to a pretty rocky start as of right now. But listen, season 2, they can learn from all the mistakes and they can really be better. But as of right now, I do think that season 1 was a solid season, not exactly spectacular like Invincible, didn't get that much of an overwhelming amount of praise from the community, so we don't really know if Amazon will really want to do season 2 for this show, if they'll think that it's worth it. That's really here nor there, but I do think that the show can really learn from mistakes, build on what it did in season 1, like a new Robin, maybe in season 2, maybe we'll finally get Joker in season 2, etc. That can make the show really good, that can make it a really next level show. But until then, we'll have to see. So overall, the show isn't exactly terrible. It does some good stuff. The formality of the show, the suit, the themes, the potential that it has makes me like it a lot. But I do have a bit of bad stuff with the show that makes it not that great, that pulls it back from being a really incredible show, that instead makes it a little bit underwhelming at times. Okay, so now as for the bad stuff with the show is the fact that the show is boring. Yeah, that's a really, not so good critique for a critic like me to make about anything, but yeah, the show is just boring. That's just plain right. That's how I can say it. It's just very, very boring. The show does at times feel like a chore to get through, and not even like a fun chore like mopping or cleaning your bathroom or cleaning your room. It's a boring chore that I don't really want to do. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely did struggle to watch the show throughout my entire season 1 experience. Part of that being, there's a lot of other shows on right now, like House of the Dragon, Invincible, blah, 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 whatever. A lot of other movies and shows are coming out right now, which makes it kind of diluted. But at the same time, I had days where I just didn't even want to watch the show because I know that it's just kind of stale right now. Now, that can be for a lot of things, and I'll go through them right here. I have like a few reasons that are very, very big that makes the show kind of boring and not very fun to go through. And the main one being really animation for the show. Listen, when we're in a world that has Puss in Boots: The Last Wish, when we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, shows should not be this dull, this plain, this stale. The animation style, I'll admit, it is classic. It is having that, old 90s Batman animated show vibes to it, which is very fun, very nostalgic. But here in 2024, when we have shows like Invincible being absolutely crisp and beautiful, also X-Men 97 coming out as well. Listen, Arcane as well from Netflix. Shows should not be like this. I'll admit that, that's not really a fair critique. Maybe that's something that they're trying to go for. But at the same time, looking at one shot of this, then one shot of X-Men 97, it's clear which one I want to watch. And once again, maybe that was just some kind of artistic vision for them to make it a little bit more, classic, kind of that hand-drawn, fuzzy animation. But it does make it stale, feels very uninspired, feels a lot left to be desired. And the next thing is really the balancing of the show. The show does go into a teeny bit of Batman, and I did want it to be more of a Bruce Wayne Batman show that goes into that psychological field of Batman and of Bruce Wayne, but it doesn't really do that. It has a lot of potential to do that. In one episode, specifically with Harley Quinn and Catwoman, they do that a little bit with Bruce Wayne, but they don't really grasp on it like they really could. And that's something that really comes for me before the action or the animation, just making a good Batman story. I mean, look at things like Batman Mask of the Phantasm. Came out like over, 30 years ago, and it's still really, really incredible. And things like, you have the Dark Knight trilogy, obviously. You have the Batman Under the Red Hood from like 2013, which is also really good. I mean, look, the stories for these characters, the story for the Batman, the Dark Knight, Bruce Wayne, is what makes Batman a very good character and a very good piece of media. And the show, I feel, doesn't really do that much. Really, the balancing of Batman Caped Crusader is mostly a little bit of Bruce Wayne, a little bit of Batman, and mostly just GCPD and them trying to fight the corruption of Gotham and some of the villains as well, which aren't that interesting either. Look, the show should be more of a Batman show, and if you're going to really commit to not being a main Batman show, then you should at least make that stuff interesting a little bit, but they don't. And another critique that's not even actually from me, but from this other guy I saw on YouTube, his name's Black Lion. I'll link his full Batman Caped Crusader review down below, but in his review, me and him kind of have similar points for what makes the show not that great, but something that he said that really stuck with me was that the show doesn't really do anything with its setting. I mean, the show takes place in the 1940s, yet it doesn't do anything with the 1940s at all. And in his full video, he explains it a lot better than I can, but he explains how in The terms of we have Jim Gordon being a African American in the 40s, being a police officer, doesn't make that much sense whatsoever. And also his daughter being a person of color in the 40s, working in the police department. Not trying to go full woke, but when you have this setting of the 40s and things like that being very, not like what it really should be, like how we have one character that's very openly lesbian and kissing someone that's another girl inside of a restaurant, they don't do anything with that setting or with that time period, then there's really no point of having the show take place in the 40s. It doesn't make much sense. It's not very effective. It feels like a waste of potential. The only thing that really makes the show a very 40s vibe show is the technology, them using radios, and also the cars being like 40s cars. But that's really it. And Tommy guns, I guess. That's really it. That's as far as I can go with the 40s setting, the 40s aesthetic, which is very disappointing. I mean, if you're going to make the show what it is, then at least set it like the 80s would make a little more sense, teeny bit. The 80s would be like more of a neo-noir kind of thing. But, I get it. You want to go for more of a noir style with the 40s aesthetic. But if you're going to do that, then at least make it a little bit more interesting. Once again, I'll leave the review from the Black Lion down below in the show notes. He did a much better job than I can for explaining that point. But one that wasn't really one of my points before, but now definitely is. And my last critique for why the show isn't that good is really the biggest thing for the entire show is the villains in the show not being good really at all. And let's just start with the elephant in the room, being that they did the Penguin and gender swapped the Penguin for really no apparent reason. That was a very interesting choice, one that I don't even exactly care about. But, if we're talking about fanboys here of the comics, they're going to care a lot here. I've heard people say this is like the worst adaptation of the Penguin ever. In my opinion, I've seen them do so much with Hollywood, like, gender swapping, race baiting, blah, blah, blah. Look at Finn from Star Wars. Look at She-Hulk, the entire show there. At this point, do whatever you want. I don't care about the gender swapping, but at least make it interesting. That's all I'll say. Also, I didn't even really care about that much, but from one of my coworkers said that they did a body positivity version of Alfred. Alfred in the show, a little bit chubbier. I don't mind it. Really, that's actually kind of cute and kind of fun. I can see Alfred kind of put on a little bit extra pounds here and there. I mean, hey, he has a very stressful job. Can't blame him. But yeah, so we have a gender swap Penguin, also a body positivity version of Alfred. Also, the villains in this show just aren't that good. Besides Two-Face, Two-Face is great. Two-Face is really the main season villain, and he works really well. His story is really good. His arc ends beautifully, and I love that. I wouldn't change a lot about that, but I think I can make it a little bit better. I'll talk about that in a second here. But the villains for the show aren't that good. They don't really have an impact. I can't really even remember a lot of their names even, and it's not that good. And I think that Batman Caped Crusader's villain problems could all be really solved by them just picking better villains. I know it's a very, hey, that's kind of easy, just pick better villains. But yeah, just pick better villains for the show. I mean, you have Catwoman, that's a really great one. You have Clayface, I love the adaptation for him. But Harley Quinn wasn't done that good. And also, if Harley Quinn's in the show, Joker should be there too, or at least some version of Joker. That would have been a smarter way to do both of those characters. I mean, Joker not being the show feels very, very vacant, and also a decision that I'm not exactly too mad at. Joker has a lot in the media of film and TV in general, so I'm glad with them pulling back on Joker a little bit until season 2, if that even happens, and then pushing forward new villains. But the ones that they chose wasn't that good. I mean, okay, like I said, Catwoman, Clayface, Harley Quinn kind of mid, Penguin wasn't that good either, and also Two-Face is in here as well, forgot about that. But besides that, there's not a lot of really good villains in this show at all. I mean, Catwoman, not really a villain, kind of low stakes, doesn't really do anything the entire show. And besides that, everyone else, I don't know their names, I don't really want to. It's very mid, really just D-tier rosters, the G League of Batman villains. So before we go here, I'm going to go ahead and lead us into our home stretch here. Home stretch, just really be patient here. I'm done in like 5 minutes, I promise you. 5 more minutes, just wait in your car for 5 minutes before you go into work. I promise you, I'll be in and out. So I'm just going to quickly explain before I get out of here what I would do to save the show, and also what just didn't make people that interested in watching the show at all. So how I would fix the show: number one, better animation, better writing, I guess, and make a better Batman story. And how I would do that, kind of really simple. What are other superhero shows that we see out here on like CW and stuff? I'll take an example here, like The Flash. I haven't seen The Flash in years, but I can tell you that season 1 and 2 are very good seasons for The Flash. Seasons that really work for the Flash TV show, and that are done at a, maybe bigger budget a little bit, but still, they were very consistent with how they did things over there, and I definitely really respect what they did over at The Flash. So I'll use it as a little bit of an example here. So one season of The Flash is about, let's say, 23 episodes. That's for season 4, 23 episodes. Season 2 was about 23 again. Okay, so yeah, we don't have that many episodes here, so that's fine. It doesn't matter. It's whatever. Those seasons did feel a little bit stretched, but what we're going to do here is we're going to have like 15 episodes for season 1 of the Batman Caped Crusader. That's a little long, I get it, but still, if you're doing it with this kind of cheaper animation, whatever, make it a little bit longer. How about that? A little bit of fair trade-off. So 15 episodes, kind of fair, 15, 14, that's how we're going to do it here. And how I'm going to do it is we're going to keep Two-Face as the main antagonist for the whole entire season. He's going to be our big bad for the season, and how we're going to help it out for being a little bit more engaging season of television is better villains, like I said before. So who we're going to keep here? We're going to keep Catwoman. We're going to keep Clayface. We're going to have a Killer Croc be in this show. Killer Croc. No, not Killer Croc. Killer Croc and also Joker are going to be in the show. And Penguin, we're going to keep him as being a little bit weird. And we're also going to do a version of maybe Mr. Freeze, but maybe the main one being Calendar Man for the season 1 of the show. Calendar Man, maybe Black Mask as well. Look at that. Already a lot more interesting than whoever else they had in season 1 for this show. So yeah, better villains, a little more interesting. And how we're going to do it, the whole first season of this show will be centered around Harvey Dent turning into Two-Face and really being centered around what? An election for this main season 1. And if you didn't know, here in the US, we have an election going on right now. So that would be a little more sense, a little more engaging. Really have the marketing being heavily geared towards a election for Batman, and really a heavy one on politics, heavy on the assassination of Harvey Dent. Like, hey, in real life, I understand they can't predict that, what happened to Donald Trump, but still make this show really heavy on politics, really heavy on the election. Marketing needs to be more of that, which is really cool. Have Harvey Dent and Bruce Wayne be the main 2 characters for the season 1. And with Batman, and also we have Harvey Dent as the 2 main characters, that dichotomy of both those characters. We have Bruce Wayne as Batman being in his first year as the Batman, and also we have Harvey Dent in his first year as trying to be president, and seeing the dichotomy between both those characters, that's really cool. That's really good. That's interesting. That's engaging. We want that. We need more of that. Now, so we have both those characters, Batman, and also we have Harvey Dent in the season 1 for the show. They're going to be best friends throughout the entire show. Really interesting, really cool, really fun story. Going to be great. They're going to be really bouncing off of each other. Them both being in really hard times for life right now. And also that end for Two-Face will be really sold more. Him being turned into Two-Face will be a lot better because we'll see that Batman and also Harvey Dent, 2 really good friends. And it's going to be great. It's going to be fun. That's how you do a better season of television. Also, it's Halloween right now as well. So maybe do a Scarecrow episode. That could be super cool. See, look at that. Maybe in like 5 minutes there, we made the show immediately better. So super easy, super simple, better animation, better balancing for both those 2 characters really being the main center point for the show. Also, yeah, come on, look, Bruce Wayne, Harvey Dent, main focal point for the show. The main themes that the show is really centered on are those 2 characters. Harvey Dent can still die, but it has to be better, it has to really feel earned for both these characters. This show does that really good, but still not that great. So better animation, better balancing for those 2 characters being the main focal point, and also just a better rogues gallery of villains altogether. And if you're going to do Joker, I say do Joker kind of like how in the Batman, I get it, deleted scene, but in the Batman, you have the Joker there, but the Batman already caught the Joker. He was just in jail, kind of chilling there. That's how you should do that character. Same for season 2, but hey, the Batman, go see Joker a couple times throughout season 1, really have him developed in this world, but we're going to save him for season 2, have other people get their time, like Calendar Man, hey, Condiment King, Clayface, Catwoman. They're going to have their own time to shine here, but in season 2, we're going to do a little bit better. So that's how I fix the show. That's how I make the show better. Amazon Prime, hire me. I'm going to have my phone on ring tomorrow, so I better get a call from you guys for that. But yeah, that's how you make the show better, make it more interesting, better characters, better themes, better animation. You have a easy 9 out of 10 show. And now that I fixed the show, why is someone watching the show? Is because there's just too much to watch on TV right now. And during this recording, or at least a little bit after, the Olympics are over. But when this show came out, we're in the Olympics, we're in House of the Dragon, we're in Invincible, we're in The Boys, we're in X-Men, we're in Deadpool Wolverine. There's too much going on right now. We're in The Bear as well, we're in The Boys. Everything's happening in June, July, leading into August. there's just too much noise for the show to really flourish. So if you're going to do this show, I'm fine with it happening, but push it instead to October, to November. October, November, those 2 months, or even September to November when election is going to happen, that's really good. Have this show end right around election time. No one likes politics anyway, so make it really centered around that time to make everyone get away from the real world. Politics, Kamala Harris, Trump, who cares? Let's watch Batman instead. And in the early stages of development for this episode, it was originally titled Why Batman is Oversaturated. And then I kind of realized that Batman isn't really oversaturated. The show is just not good and also came out during a really, really bad time for it. All right, well, with all of that egregious yapping out of the way, I fixed the show. I fixed it, fixed why it was bad, fixed why no one's watching it, how to make it better. Now, Amazon Prime, I'll be waiting for your call, but until then, I gotta keep podcasting. We're gonna have Alien next week, Monday, and then I think on Wednesday or Friday, we're gonna try our hardest to do a full Alien anthology ranked. I just got finished watching Alien 4 Resurrection, and I don't even know. Look, the downfall of this whole entire franchise needs to be studied, but I'm going to be diving into the prequels for Alien, so Prometheus, then Alien Covenant, then Saturday, I'll be going into Alien Romulus. It's going to be a very alien-filled week for me, and I can't wait for it. But if you want to hear everything about it, you got to stay up to date with us in the socials, down below in the show notes, Instagram. I'm not really active on X that much, but, I try sometimes. I try to be funny, but I don't laugh at my jokes, so it's kind of upsetting for me. Yeah, laughing at all my bad jokes is a really big favor you can do for me, but even bigger favor is you leaving us a review down below wherever you're listening. It helps keep the fridge full, keeps the lights on. Leaving reviews helps grow the show, and it really just helps all of us in our beautiful community grow. If you listen to this with those beautiful ears, then thank you for even listening, but still, leave us a review. It would mean a lot to us and really do a lot for us as well. But until I talk about Alien or really anything else, then you can turn on those little notifications to know when we post. Also, hey, let me know what you thought about the Batman Caped Crusader. Was it good? Was it bad? What do you think you could really change about it? What really made it terrible? And what do you think you can do to make it better? I must know. I need to know. You can leave us a little fan mail down below there. It's kind of cool. It's a little thing you can click on to send us little messages. It's really fun, really cute. But until I read that and see that, stay swagged out, stay cool, watch more Batman, like Batman Mask the Phantasm, and I'll see you boys in the movies.